What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the BBB Gaming News channel. If you want to hear the other side of the news, subscribe and turn on notifications. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Rara and how he actually went on a Jake Lucky and Hunter podcast called The Cooldown and spoke about the hacker hunter scene. And his thoughts on it were very shocking. So, let's crack on with the news. Although it may come as a surprise, Rara had some very weird things to say, I would say. Yes, very strange things to say about the hacker hunter scene. However, it would appear that he was also just trying to market his own brand whilst he was on this podcast, putting down every other hacker hunter as best he could, whilst bigging himself up and his own methods. That's how it seemed. But whilst doing that, he was once again burning bridges along the way. This is somebody who is very outspoken. Yeah, they don't hold the tongue very much. Rara we're talking about. He is more than happy to speak his mind about certain people, especially when he knows that the people he's talking to at that moment don't like that person either. So for him to speak about badboy Beaman on this podcast, to Jake Lucky, who has been called out for his bullshittery in the past, well, I'm sure it was going to go down a treat. Let's take a look and a listen to what Rara had to say during this podcast. Sit back and enjoy.
Anyway, Rara, you got a crazy backstory, so we've been looking forward to this conversation. In case people don't know who you are, can you give us a bit of a background and introduction?
Yeah, so to make it a long story short, was a Warzone player, primarily, and content creator. Content kind of did a switch one day when I realized a lot of people who are essentially calling themselves hacker hunters aren't exactly catching hackers, and it's a lot of false advertising. And I decided to put my foot in because I realized that the only people that are really catching them these days are people that are playing the game. So why not dedicate myself to it and try to make a difference? And
yeah,
that's been good.
You've kind of become known for being definitely a very analytical and very much a detailed approach kind of space. I should say a face in the Warzone space. So who exactly you're talking about? Any names in particular? Because Warzone's a very, very unique situation, right? There is nothing like Warzone when it comes to these hacker hunters. Like, it's Warzone pretty much in itself. So is there anyone in particular you're talking about when it comes to that?
So I'll say it like this. I think anyone that kind of has thrown themselves in the last year to 2 years as a hacker hunter, whether that's badboy Beaman or, headband, so on. There's a lot of names, right, that you could fill that space in. If you've watched the videos, but a lot of them kind of just throw whatever they can at the wall and hope maybe it'll stick. And I just wanted to change that up. I wanted to say, hey, you could break this down and start to realize there are patterns that regular gameplay happens all the time like this. Or someone on a console can do the same thing and it happens like this. So I wanted to show that rather than showing, well, I cheated once and I know that cheats can do that. It's like, well, cheats are made to look like good gameplay too. That's the whole thing, is they want to sell you on that. That's why their marketing is, well, all the pros are using it. Are they? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's been very curious to watch because it's a space where, I mean, it's been really tough to follow because knowing what's legit and what's not legit, and I think it's an ever-growing learning curve of, there's so much to catch up on every single day with a game so broken as Warzone and COD as it is. Mm-hmm. So I guess my question to you would be, and it's always a hairy topic, right?
Hit me with it.
Do you think that there are top streamers or creators in the Warzone space that do legitimately cheat?
So now, my honest opinion, right? Because this is always like a touchy subject for a lot of people. My honest opinion is there's probably people that have not come out that I doubt anyone's looking at and saying they're cheating. To this day, I still get people brought like, you know, on my desk that are like, hey, I need my PC checked. I'm being accused by this pro, this pro, this pro, right? And in the competitive scene, they're considered, you know, valuable. But on a content creator side or on a view count side, they are not well known, right? So Beaman's not going after him, or Headband, or any of the other ones, right? So with that being said, I think yes. I just don't think it's a lot of the names that they're looking at. And that's really where it starts to get like touchy. Could they use VPNs and all this other stuff? Listen, I'm sure there's guys out there that do it. But to me, that's not even like scraping the surface of like what you should be focused on, because creating content with a VPN doesn't really bother me. If you're making money in tournaments, sure, we'll talk about that. That's a separate thing completely. Wagers, everything else. Manipulating lobbies. But if you're doing it for a YouTube video, not as bad. But cheating, wall hacks, aimbot, anything like that, falsely showing your skill, starts to get touchy. I'd say they're cheating. Get them out. You know what I mean? But VPNs, that's a weird, you know, gray area for me that I'm just not sure. Because I used them. I even used them and try to like show, does it work? Does it not work? I just think it's one of those things that it's like kind of up in the air.
Why do you think that it's the Warzone space in particular that's so riddled with these cheaters or these rule benders or however you want to classify all of that?
Well, I mean, look at Call of Duty as a whole, right? I think anyone that's in the Call of Duty scene knows since back in COD 4, when something is broken, everybody latches onto that broken thing and does it the most. Whether it goes all the way back to Modern Warfare 2 and it was, you know, one-man army with noob tubes, or if it was, you know, Black Ops 1 with knife lunges, you have to like think over time, what's the things that broke and how bad was it? And for this Call of Duty, sadly, it is the anti-cheat. And so the cheating problem is through the roof. Now, can we do anything? Not really, except continue to try to call out people and, you know, really do it the right way. That's really the only way I see it getting better. But I do think there's a place. I do want to say this because I think it's hard to like look at it from both sides. So as someone that personally disagrees with everything most of these guys do that are you know, a bad boy Beaman in a sense, because I use his name a lot because he is the known name. I'll admit it. He's put it on the spot. You know, he kind of coined the term hacker hunter. But that being said, I don't think he hits it all the time, but occasionally he hits it. And I think it's important to know that, because even going back to, although I disagree with his opinion on it, zlaner, we gunned him down for manipulating his clips, and I went back and I'm working on something big about it to explain it, but he didn't do it on purpose. And I'm actually shocked that I found it, because I hate it. I honestly hate the fact of it because I don't like him. But I'm shocked to find out he didn't manipulate his clips on purpose. And the only reason I know that is way back when zlaner made the video about manipulating his clips, he talked about, well, he didn't edit it out in the slow-mo. Right? He didn't edit out frames in the slow-mo. He only did it in the regular speed version. And that's what got me thinking about it. And it was the method of recording. And I just want to, you know, adjust one thing here, because I thought back to it. I'm like, maybe I should make this clear. I don't think Bad Boy Beaman completely has his head on straight when it comes to picking out who's cheating and who isn't. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I think it's important to set a validity and, you know, set records straight when going over these things. And I didn't think it was possible, but it's possible. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, I think there's probably definitely a bit of addiction's maybe not the right word, but he likes the views, and so you're gonna go for the names that get the views a lot of the times.
Who doesn't? Listen, who doesn't like the views?
Yeah.
We all name drop, we all do it, but he just does it in a way that's probably not the most positive.
Right.
Do you ever think how weird it is that we've come to a point in time in content and whatever it might be that we have creators who are the dictators of who is guilty and who is not when it comes to hacking or not? Like it makes, when you think about, we're talking about $1 billion company, it's coming down to YouTubers to decide, and I mean decide, because some are obvious, some are not. Do you ever think how crazy it is that Call of Duty as a franchise has come down to creators like yourself to determine who is cheating and who is not?
It's scary. In plain and simple, it's scary. If you think back to what happened with Tommy, when Tommy called out Paysetter and what was the other guy? More something. But he called out 2 content creators, got them both caught. 100%, it was confirmed they were cheating, right? He calls out the third person in his career, right? Metzi.
Yeah.
And that one kind of backfired, though, because it wasn't confirmed. And Metzi kind of was like, yeah, like, we're caught, in a sense, right? That was kind of like the feeling he gave to his audience. But there was nothing really that said he was 100% cheating. Actually, someone else that was in that tournament people were more sus about, and the subject kind of got dropped. Did I think Metzi was cheating? No. And Tommy actually walked it back and said, you know what? I don't think he's cheating. I might have jumped the gun. And it got adjusted. He, I think Aiden rated him after that, and it kind of was like cooled down, but that hurt Metzi's career, right? And that's the part that's scary, is like, if you're not 100% on something like this, and Tommy learned that firsthand, is that you can't go in on it. These guys, however, don't care, because they aren't a Call of Duty pro. They have nothing to lose. And case in point, there's a recent creator that came out. I won't even name drop him because it's just like so annoying to me. He uses just an AI voice, and that's it. And videos blow up, right? And the reason it annoyed me so much to see is that, like, you're talking about people's careers literally getting tarnished by an AI voice because they don't give you the full story. That blows my mind that someone's able to do that. And Activision won't even speak on it because, 1, they don't want to talk about skill-based matchmaking, which is the biggest thing. 2, they don't want to talk about their anti-cheat because, yes, for good reason. Maybe they'll give information out and, you know, it could screw the game. So, I don't know. You got to continue to just plug away and hope for the best, but, man, it's fucked. I'm sorry.
Because Tommy was on a streak there. Like, Tommy was on a ride of, like, catching cheaters straight up, and he would get them to admit it. And then all of a sudden, Metzi comes around, and you say, interesting, because I feel like there's 2 sides in every story, because Metzi got caught by Tommy, right? Gets in that debacle, and you say it kind of ruined his career, kind of hurt his career. But then after that whole debacle, Metzi gets signed, I believe, to an esports organization, and he might have been previously undiscovered before the whole accusations happened against him.
Fair.
So it's like, to
but
me,
you're talking about signed, and then you're talking about viewership. You're talking about, like, what the casual viewer thinks. They don't talk about the sign. They talk about Tommy called him out for cheating, and that's the thing that's, like, hard.
That lingers. That stays for a long time, and it's all of a sudden you had Tommy who was popping off day after day for exposing these cheaters, and all of a sudden he discovers, oh frick, I can't go in on these people because if I'm wrong, that is the ultimate, like, it ended up being pretty bad, obviously, because Tommy was on a 4 or 5 streak. He was calling out everybody left and right and getting it right. And then it was bound to happen where eventually, like, you just don't know with all these people, because when you're a creator like yourself, there's no way to 100% confirm it.
Well, that's why I'm going with the PC checks. That's why it's like my failsafe, whether I'm sitting there and I'm, like, accusing someone, right? I'm not going to say I'm accusing someone until I sit down and I talk to them. And I'm like, hey, let me sit down on your computer, like, over a call. We'll jump on Discord. If you want a third party there, we'll have a third party there. And we can literally just go through your PC. I know the programs. I know all of it. I know the game. I know what should be there and shouldn't be. And not only that, I'm able to do it where it's kind of feels more comfortable, right? Because I don't have to personally open up a program and look at all your, Windows files and go through your, your Google history. I can do it in a way where I know what to look for without ever having to, I don't want to give it away completely because I've done it a few times, but even someone that is a hacker hunter, right, got accused. And that's where it became clear that there's a problem. Another hacker hunter accused another hacker hunter of cheating currently on stream. Mind blowing. So now everybody's going at it back and forth and it becomes like a war, right? And I'm called in, hey, check his PC. Now he's already admitted that he used to use cheats to test and now he's stopped. But now he's playing legit. And I went on his PC and he's like, I wiped this PC clean. It hasn't had cheats on it, blah, 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 blah. I found when he last used cheats on a PC that he wiped. Wiped it clean. New OS, new graphics card, new CPU, everything. He had one hard drive connected to it that was from the old PC that he just took out, put it, and I was able to find it. And it was as simple as that, and it was such a minuscule thing, but I found the logins for the cheat provider he used. I found everything and just said to him, all right, sign into that email, there's the record. And it was that simple. So if I can do that to someone that knows how to hide their shit, I know I can do it to someone that isn't, which I've done it. You know what I mean? So if they've cheated, I'll find out.
Who is the biggest Warzone creator or streamer that you've exposed for hacking?
The biggest. Okay, so this is a weird question because I feel like
and I want to double that up. I want to double that up by saying that strike you as odd as none of the top boys have also been exposed. Two-prong question.
Okay. So, starting with the first one, right? The biggest content creator. So, it's not that they're the biggest content creator, but the title itself, what they hold, was most important, which was a world record. And they were representing themselves as their whole squad has multiple world records in different modes. I think you're frozen, by the way.
Yeah, I am fixing it.
I was like, damn, he finds this really interesting. Either that or he's eyeing me, man.
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry. But so when it comes to those world records, it was this kid, Gyro is the best, and his whole squad, and they're all wager kids. But what I figured out was not too hard, but Gyro had been jumping in and out of unlock tools, unlocking camos for other content creators, which I have leads on even that alone of who he was doing it for, which it started a tree, right, of more stuff. But at the minimum, I could make a video about the world record. And so I made that video. But he held multiple world records as number 1, number 3, number 7, through quads, iron trial quads, trios, duos, solos. So I went through that, showed it. But the crazy part to me is that even though we showed it, and we showed true evidence that he was doing the unlocks, he had another YouTube channel that he was, advertising that he'll get you camos and all this other stuff. We linked it all back to him, and he's admitted to it on Twitter that it was him. A lot of these sites aren't pulling the records down. Now, is that because I don't have the reach? Is that because the videos aren't getting to them? Who knows? But my point is that it's something so important to me of the game. I don't care how big their name is. When you hold a world record, it's a world record. That's like saying what got me into it most of all was looking at speedrunning as an inspiration and seeing speedrunning have so many cheaters that slowly get caught just by going through the editing. Seeing, oh, the song cut off here and started here, and you could see the fade in the file. There it is. And that kind of stuff is what interests me the most. So important to me of the game. I don't care how big their name is. When you hold a world record, it's a world record. That's like saying what got me into it most of all was looking at speedrunning as an inspiration and seeing speedrunning have so many cheaters that slowly get caught just by going through the editing, seeing, oh, the song cut off here and started here, and you could see the fade in the file. There it is. And that kind of stuff is what interests me the most.
Do you find it odd that although you've caught some big people out there, let's be honest, let's be real, there has not been like a big name, like a big streamer, a big player. Because I mean, I think that's the common rebuttal against the bad boy Beamans and the headbands and whoever it might be. I do respect your approach because you're very deeply analytical, and sometimes you combat the other hacker hunters out there. Don't you find it odd that a lot of, I mean, pretty much any of the big names that are most commonly accused have never been found guilty?
Right. I say that all the time because you got to sit down and say, listen, how many of these guys, I don't care how long they've been cheating, right? Like if on the small side that have been exposed. I'm saying those guys, big or small, that get caught, menu popped up, whatever it may be, they get caught. And a lot of times it's because they just slipped up. How come not one of those people are big time? That's the common thing that I go to as well. Because they do go to other setups. They do this. They do try going on LAN, right? And you're going to play different because you're not on your setup. You're not using your controller. It's probably not overclocked, so on and so forth, right? Even taking a look at someone like, let's play it on the other side, Shifty, right? Now, whether anyone thought he was cheating or isn't cheating, I'm not going to weigh in on that part. But what I'm going to say is he played differently, right? When he was, at NRG with you guys, he played differently. And looking at how he played before that, he played differently. So comparing that to gameplays, I say something's up. Now looking at him playing now, he's still not playing the same as he did at NRG with you guys, but he's definitely not playing the same as he was all the way back when he got accused. So you have to look at patterns is my main point. And all the big guys, the big guns out there that are pulling the numbers, their patterns are the same. That's really it. Yeah, sure, they'll have a bad day. Sure, when a new update comes out, it might be hard to get used to the new gun. But once you get into the swing of the new map, the new gun, whatever it is, it's back.
Do you think that zlaner is hacking?
My honest opinion, no. And I'm gonna say this. The thing, I know why he seems so sus, and it kind of blows my mind to how it wasn't so obvious back in the day. But it comes down to something as simple as a setting in his setup. He used a third-party application, but everybody used this third-party application if you played on PC in Warzone for the first year. Everyone. Because anyone that came was playing on PlayStation before that. Let me explain it like this. PlayStation was the best to play on because of exclusivity up until Modern Warfare. When crossplay came out, everything came out at the same time. You no longer needed to play on a PS4. Everyone switched to PC. PC did not support a PlayStation controller. You needed to use a third-party application to convert your controller to an Xbox signal, essentially. So everyone would go and get DS4 because it was the first thing you would look up. Because of certain settings, which I'm gonna show very soon, it's one of the hardest videos I made because I have to do it clip by clip. But based on his settings in a settings setup video, I realized he was using DS4. He had it set to default settings when you first download the app, and it caused snapping every time he would touch the stick past the dead zone. It would over, rather than getting fine-tuned sensitivity. And that's how he learned how to play. He actually trained himself to play at a disadvantage, and using that disadvantage, it got him recognized in a sense. I know that sounds weird, but a lot of people started talking about him more and more, which caused a big jump in his viewership. So in my eyes, I don't think he cheats. I never thought he cheats. One day you'll hear them say he chest locks. The next day you'll hear them say he limb locks. One day they say he's walling. One day he says, no, he's not walling. they don't know what to call it. They don't know the mechanics of the game, but they know something's different. And they are right that something was different. It's just a lot simpler than they really knew.
Very, very interesting.
I know it sounds like crazy, like hearing it, because it's a lot of like.
Yeah, the fact that we're having this conversation is crazy in itself.
But it is a lot of like, thinking about how certain numbers get converted into the game and stuff like that. And his movement and everything else is organic. It's just that one part is very easily explained when looking at DS4. But once DS4 wasn't needed anymore, you could see an actual shift in his gameplay. He no longer had that issue, and he also never had his dead zone set so high. I'd have to show you, but you'll see in the video.
Yeah. I'm definitely waiting for it. Hunter, I know you probably have some questions banked up. If you don't, I just got one more for Rara, because it was a while back that we covered your, I would say, accusation towards Activision around how frequently these cheats and these hacks pop up. And this is an age-old one from you, where, correct me if I'm wrong, but you accused Activision of having a potential inside leaker, and that was why Call of Duty and Warzone was so frequented by hackers and cheats, is because someone on the inside was potentially leaking data to the outside. Can you comment on that?
Yeah. So when I first got wind of that whole thing, the guy who gave me that was a data miner that not only leaked things to me, but leaked things to pretty prominent names that have now blew up in the scene that you definitely have spoken with. I won't drop their names, but we were all in a group chat. And this guy was giving us information constantly, and he was credible over and over and over. And then I one day said to him, like, I think it was like season 2 or 3, right after the game dropped, I was like, why is this cheating problem not getting better? And then season 4 came, and he's like, all right.
There you go, guys. It may well have been very long-winded, but Rara had a lot to get off his chest during this podcast. It did seem very much planned, almost like he was invited on intentionally to try and just dismiss the whole hacker hunter scene, except himself, of course. But it was very strange to watch, especially when you know that that person and yourself have had somewhat of a relationship where you've helped each other, for them to then come out and say certain things on a podcast to Jake Lucky. It doesn't sit right with me, that. That's rat behaviour, wouldn't you say? But hey guys, if we find out any more about Rara, show him what kind of person he actually is, or anything else related to Jake Lucky and Hunter's podcast, we'll keep you posted about all those things here on the BBB Gaming News channel, so make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. BBB, over and out.